Hi folks, good morning, good afternoon and good evening wherever you are in the world. My name's Sean, aka Uncle Frogface, and welcome to today's video. If you're new here, then welcome. If you're not new, then welcome back. We have a maker video today, which I'm actually really excited for because it's come together for a few different reasons. So, Taryn over at Conjured Crafts, who is a friend of the channel, and hopefully you know, and if you're not following, I'll leave links down below to their Instagram and YouTube channel, all that kind of stuff. So Taryn and a few friends basically have started this thing called Wand Club, where people that have created wands can show them off and be part of Wand Club, which was great. And I was intended to do something for that because, you know, love being part of things with friends. But then at the same time, I saw an online convention was happening called wandtober, run by the master wandmakers and Vanders. So I thought, yeah, why not? I like a good chat with other people and I like to learn things from other makers, so I signed up for it, and honestly it has been so much fun. Part of that as well has been some wand dueling, which I will come back to in a minute. But with all of these different wand makers showing off their wares and how they do what they do, which is amazing by the way, they turn wood like blanks into some amazing pieces of work. But then on the flip side of that, you have people who use simple wooden dowels and hot glue and make amazing wands as well. So I thought, actually my skill set is with prop making, so for stage and for screen. So how can I bring that to making wands? Well, as you may recall, I have a 3D printer and I'm loving 3D printing. We've got just over here the hook. You'll notice a little first prize trophy next to that. I been to one of the costume parties so far and I won the best dressed at that party, which I'm very happy about. I also have here, this is a Mandalorian vibroblade, which is a pattern that I found and then altered to make it more screen accurate using Blender. And right now I'm printing one of two Mandalorian helmets for my first ever Comic-Con, which I'm going to in December in Telford, which is Wales Con, I think. So I'm really looking forward to that. I feel like I've gone a bit of a tangent. So anyway, as part of wandtober, I got this lovely piece from the guys over at Willbotts Wands. It's really lovely. It's very nicely turned. This is one of the Order of 7 wands they have. I think this is the Order of the Fallen, you know, villain, had to. But yeah, it's a really, really nice wand. Lovely size as well. However, I wanted to go for something a little bit longer. So I have got some wooden dowels here, and this is post-recording, by the way. I have already made the piece, but I have some dowels here. Basically, I'm going to be using some 3D modelling skills to go into Blender and mock up a few pieces to create the handle, and then print it off and put it all together and give it a good paint and treat this like a story prop. And for me, the story is a very important part of a prop. So my theme for this wand is, of course, it's evil and it's dark, but I wanted to take the idea of the Tooth Fairy, and if a Tooth Fairy's wand was as corrupted as a bad tooth, and the fairy itself was corrupted, then what would the wand look like? So this is basically going to be my take on an evil Tooth Fairy's decay wand. I feel like I've talked enough. Let's get into the making and I will see you at the end. So this is Blender, and you can see I've got a few elements. So I'm not going to show you how I modelled these, but if you'd like a video on how to model things like this, let me know. But essentially what I've got here is parts of a wand, which is kind of like parts of a knife. You have the handle, you have the pommel, you have the hilt, and then you have the blade part. So I've made all of these sections individually. I've got a kind of make-do shaft, which is just a cylinder, which is 12mm wide, which is the same as the dowel that I have. And all I'm going to do is join all of these sections together so that I've got it into one single handle piece. Love the Boolean tool. So now I'm moving the make-do shaft further up the handle because I don't want it to go all the way through. That's just going to be a waste of dowel. I can use a 10% infill on this in the 3D printer, and won't be using very much plastic at all. But I've boolean cut that out, and then I've got a perfect recess in the handle to house the blade part of the wand. Now I've just got a plane, so this is just a plane that I've imported. I've got it exactly in the middle of this on the Z axis, and then once I give it a little bit of thickness, 0.001 millimeters, I can do a boolean cut, which means I've cut this exactly in half, and now this wand is in 2 sections. Save that as STL files, each of those. That means bringing them into Cura, I can lay them down on the print bed, and this is what we have. You can see the sections underneath for the wand, and this is ready to go. It's ready to print. Okay, it is the next day, and we have everything finished and printed. So it was a nice little print. This is the 2 sections. There we go. I'm really happy with how these turned out. In fact, if I pop these together, they go together absolutely beautifully. I was thinking after I designed this, it's kind of like a Tooth Fairy's wand from Middle Earth. Like if the Tooth Fairy had strolled out of Mordor, then this is probably what they would be wielding. So, this is the handle section. I've got some new super glue, because my last one had that terrible brush. Actually, it's over here, and it's all stuck together. So, brand new super glue. I'm going to clean the back of this and get all the glue off. Glue these 2 parts together. Then I've got various bits of sandpaper. I'm going to give it a nice smooth out. And then of course we've got our dowel. I've got to cut it to the length that I want, and then this actual blade itself is going to look cracked and broken. Obviously with my Tooth Fairy being an evil Tooth Fairy, I want to bring in some rot and decay. That's really the thing that I'm going for here. This is going to be fun. So I'm going to clean all of this up, and I'm going to sand it all down. Once I've done that, I'll come back and I'll show you what this looks like, and we can get to painting this section, and then we can think about the blade as well. Okay, so here we are, and this is now all sanded in the bits that I want it to be sanded. It's all nice and smooth, the seams are nice. Now I need to take the dowel and cut off a section that I want, and I'm going to kind of make it look broken. So that's the first thing I'm going to do. I'm just going to use the plane and maybe a knife and just carve some bits out of it, and then I'm going to come in afterwards and do some detail work. So I'll be back in just a moment, hopefully with that, and we can get on to doing some details. Right, okay, so we have the wand, we have the blade part as well. You can see this is basically just stripped it down until it cracked, separated it, did a little bit of weathering, and then this fits in here. Actually really nice and secure already, but I will be gluing this into place. So this is what let's zoom out a little bit. Okay, this is what the wand will look like all together. So what I want to do now is bring a bit of more of that evil Tooth Fairy into this before we get to painting. So on the grooves here, we've got one of the grooves is like an inset groove. I'm going to take my Coulier Customizer, version 3, obviously. I'm going to make some little divots all the way in here, and then I kind of want that to extend into this section where it's broken here. I want it to look almost like tooth decay, and I'm going to colour that in like browns and greens. The outside of the one potentially in that red, and I'm going to again reinforce this looking like it's been broken and shattered. That's really what I want it to do. So I'm going to get cracking with that. Okay, so maybe I got ahead of myself. Actually, first what I'm going to do is paint the sections of the handle white that will be the same colour as the blade, the shaft part of the wand, because then it's going to take the colour much nicely. Now I can come in with my Coulier Customizer with a round bit and just start making all of those pock marks and holes along the recessed part of the spiral handle. Once that's all done, I'm moving on to the broken part of the blade itself and just adding a little bit of kind of wood texture detail. Obviously the pine dowel, when you break it's actually fairly smooth. And then coming in with that same round bit, actually I think I used 3 or 4 different sizes, and extending all that pockmarking up inside that corrupted, corroded, decayed part of the broken wand. Now on to painting. Love painting. So I'm painting, as I say, the all of the wood on this is being painted with this lovely, I think this is red oxide, so it gives a almost like a mahogany wood colour, which I'm really in love with. And once all of the blade part is done, including the broken part, because I'll be going over that later, I want to do the handle, and this is why we painted it white, so that it actually matches the colour of the blade. If I'd left this black, it wouldn't have matched, because the paint wouldn't have shown as much on the black as it does on the white. So always good to prep the parts that you know you're going to be painting a different colour. So with the metallic parts, I decided not to go with gold or silver, and instead I've got this bronze colour. So this is a cheap, I think this is a Reeves colour that I've had in my collection of paints in a great big box for years and years and years, and actually it did really, really well. You'll see I got some paint on my thumb, which then went on the handle, which means I had to repaint some of the handle to get rid of the metallic, but these things happen. Make sure you keep your workspace nice and clean and your hands nice and clean, and you won't have issues like that. I'm terrible for this kind of thing, and I'm always having to re-go over things because I'm not being as tidy as I could be. But once we've done that on both the pommel and the hilt section, this is what we're left with. It's looking really nice so far, right? Still a lot more to do. So, teeth. We've got this big tooth at the bottom here, but we've also got around the ring of the pommel and the hilt, we have these little studs, which are also teeth. They're just a little bit smaller. So I'm going to go in and paint all of those with an off-white colour. Has a little bit of raw sienna in there to give it that bone colour. And just going over this can take a couple of layers because it's a light colour over a metallic, but that's fine. I'm just going to take my time and get all of that done. It's fine detail work. It takes time, but it is very, very much worth it. We've done the pommel, now for the hilt, same thing. We've got those canine teeth that need painting, the 3 sticky up bits, and then all of the little studs, and this is what we are left with. Again, I'm really happy with it so far. I'm waiting for the bottom to fall out of this. There's usually a section where I go, ugh, I hate this. So now we're going to get some of the green going in, and fingers crossed, it's still going ahead. So for the green, I've actually gone for this almost viridian hue. The red is very warm, and the viridian green is quite a cool colour. So I'm having that contrast in warm and cool colours as well. So this is the colour I'm going to use for all of the decay. So starting with this orb at the bottom, I'm kind of feeling like that is where the decay, the magic is coming from. And then it's spreading up through the handle, through those spirals, and then eventually onto the blade itself. So here, with all of these sections, I'm just completely filling it in with the colour. We're going to come back later and do some details, and that's where the pre-work really comes in handy. So all of those little divots and those marks and those pop marks that we made with the Coolio Customizer, they're going to start to show up. So we've got the orb, we've got the handle part painted in the green, and now all of this section, the broken wand, where all of that corrosion and corruption is, we're going to paint all of that in that same green colour. Now we're on to detail work, so much smaller brushes, some more bright colours as well as darker colours. So with this rot and this decay, I wanted to really punch up the ick factor and have kind of a pus colour running through it. So I have this this yellow, and you'll see now as we go through, it's starting to pick up all of those bits, all of that work that we've done before. And this is what the handle now looked like. Obviously I want to extend this into the gem at the bottom, so I'm just adding a few magical swirls onto that orb just to further accentuate that this is where the magic's coming from and extending up through the wand. And it's starting to come to life now. It's starting to feel like a prop. We're getting to the details where actually from a distance you're not going to see them, but for the overall effect it actually makes a big difference. All of those little bits and the extra work that you put in, that extra care and attention, it really shows with a prop like this, and actually any prop that you're making. There's just a few swirls of this yellow, and I think we're just about done for that orb section. We still need to do this blade section, and we're doing exactly the same. And again, as we're just going through and I'm just touching a few bits, you see it's picking up all of that detail that we've already put in. Now yes, this yellow is very bright. Don't worry about that. We're going to be doing more work on this that's going to dull that out. So keep watching and you'll see this all come together in the end. So I had this iridescent medium. It's a pearl medium from, I think I got this from Hobbycraft, it was on sale, and I'd not used it before. So I thought I'd give it a little bit of a try. I think I went a little bit heavy on the gem, and I ended up wiping some of it off. But actually, when it dried, it kind of has this look of like slime as well. So I kind of went back and forth on it, and whilst I was thinking about what to do, I decided to come in with the black kind of very fine paintbrush and just draw these kind of lines of like spreading decay, like these cracks and fissures. So I'm just putting a few of those in whilst I'm just considering what to do with this iridescence, because it has a kind of magical feel. It has that kind of magic dust feel, which I quite liked, but at the same time it also has this, you know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of the snail trails that are left when a snail or a slug slithers along a piece of wood, and you get these kind of like slimy tendrils. I quite liked it, so I decided to use it. So I'm going to finish up with this little bit of black detailing and then come in with a little bit of iridescence. Now I don't want to go overkill on this. I'm just putting a little bit in. And as I said, anything that looks bright now is not going to stay that way. We're going to do something just to blend everything in nicely. Of course we want to get it on the handle as well, really to tie it in, that it's running right the way through the whole wand. And this is where we turn this in from a new prop into an aged item, just with a nice wash of black and really layering on, wiping it off, layering on, wiping it off. You can spend as much or as little time as you want on this section, but the more time the better, in my opinion. And there you can see the bright bits are much more dull now, but it looks like an actual antique. And there we go, all finished, and here is the wand. So you can see it is a little bit longer than the Willbotts wand, but I'm so happy with this, and I can say as well, and as I said, stay tuned to right at the very end, and I'll leave a clip of some of the dueling that's been happening. But this handles really, really nicely, so it swishes brilliantly. I've been casting spells and all sorts in the duels, and it has been super, super fun. I'm also considering making some of these for my Etsy shop. So let me know down below, just leave a comment saying the word wand if you would like to pick up something like this, or maybe a kit to make your own wand, and I'll see what I can do. Anyway, as always, I really hope you've enjoyed today's video, and until next time, goodbye.
So that's just a reset. Cast dance. Cast goes to Sean. And cast.
Stupefy.
Protego Stupefy. Crucio.
Protego Crucio. Expelliarmus.
Protego Expelliarmus. Stupefy.
Protego Stupefy. Confringo.
Protego Confringo. Fiendfire.
Protego Fiendfire. Fenunculus.
Protego Fenunculus. Confringo.
Protego Confringo. Tarantallegra.
Protego Tarantallegra.
Oh, no. I'm sorry, Raphael. You gotta dance around, bud. 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. The cast goes to Sean. Cast dance. And cast.
Imperio.
Protego Imperio. Crucio.
Protego Crucio. Sectum Sempra.
Protego Sectum Sempra. Rictum Sempra.
Protego Rictus Sempra.
Oh, I think that was a mispronunciation on the Rictus Sempra there, Raphael. Alrighty, so that's a backfire because you mispronounced it. I think that I think you said Rictum Sempra again. Or no.
Yeah.
Rictum. I think you say Rictum. Rictus. Good God. Rictus Sempra. Rictus Sempra. Rictus Sempra. Sorry, I'm just making sure that I have it right too. Yes, Rictus Sempra. All right.
Oh, man.
Laugh for 10 seconds, good sir. I'll be there right along with you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.